Good morning, everybody. How we doing today? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Virtual Leadership Summit. Today is day 2, and I've got some really exciting speakers for you, but I need to hit record.
This meeting is being
That was
recorded.
almost dangerous. I almost forgot the record button. Thankfully, we're also on YouTube Live, so that's the backup plan if Josh messes anything up. I'm so excited to have you guys back for day 2 of the Virtual Leaders Summit. How many of you were on last night? Show me some jazzies. We had so much fun. We talked about mindset from a totally new angle, talking about the conscious versus the subconscious, and that a lot of times the mindset work that we're doing is really just conscious mind stuff. All we're really doing is trying to change the way we feel in the moment and not actually making lasting and permanent change. We also talked about the difference between mentoring and true coaching. How many of you that was powerful to kind of realize the difference between just passing along resources and telling people what to do versus actually knowing how to use powerful questions to dig deeper. And then we talked about good old sales psychology, my favorite thing in the world to talk about, because this is where we take all of the questions that we're asking to people, all of the work that we're doing, and we really learn how to dig in with people in a totally different way when it comes to sales and marketing. It's not about convincing people. It's not about telling them over and over and over and over and over and over and over that you're the right person or you have the right product or you have the right program. Instead, it's about learning about what they care about, what they desire, and what's holding them back, and creating what I call the belief bridge from them to what you want to tell them about. So if you missed last night, I did this really crazy special deal that I've literally never in my entire life done before. I'm gonna show you right now. I put together what I call the Leaders Performance Bundle, and it comes with all of these amazing trainings. I joked around, it's like the best hits of Josh Coates over the last several years. Questions that convert. These are the scripts that I taught to my Push Elite group that's got them closing sales left and right. Literally just asking better questions, guys. The perfect leadership system, the psychology of self-coaching, breakdown goal session, all of these things, including a one-on-one with a master coach, 99% off. So when you click on this, and I'll give you the link for those that missed it, it takes you to a checkout page. It's a $1,000 program, but all you have to do is take this coupon code that I literally put in here for you, hit Command C. Does everybody know the Command C, Command V? Command C, Command V, apply, and now it is $9.99. The only string attached is that you have to actually book your one-on-one call with one of our master coaches, because if you don't, here's what's going to happen. You're going to go download all this stuff, and you're going to watch it till you're blue in the face, and then you're going to go home still stuck in your old limiting beliefs. And if I can just get you on a call with one of my master coaches who is literally trained in what we taught on last night, the true coaching, what you're going to find is that we can actually help dig into what the limiting belief is, where it came from, and how do we actually go about reprogramming that so that you can finally show up for yourself the way you want to. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys the link for that. Just remember, the coupon code is literally right here. It's all caps, I am leader. I'm going to get you this link, so if you didn't already grab it, I think we had 48 people already signed up last night from the call, but I want to make sure every single session I'm reminding you guys of this, because I know some people missed the call, or maybe you were doing bath time with the kids, or maybe you were on the East Coast already passed out when the call started. Okay, so let's jump into today. I have some amazing leaders today that I'm so excited to introduce you to. Ashley McClellan is one of my longest running clients. She is one of Micah Folsom's girls. We met at 3 different retreats. She ignored me for a couple years. She regrets that. She did eventually come to the dark side, where she ended up going elite 3 different times. She's got an incredible team now. I've got Danny Detra, who some of you literally heard, I believe, this last Monday on the National Wake Up Call, right? Which is a call for her company. I know we got people from different backgrounds. Today, I've got 3 health and wellness coaches. So if that's the realm you're from, This is going to be very, very specific to you. If you're not from that realm, that's okay. There's still going to be incredible principles built into this. I've also got Stephanie Noble with us this morning. She's finishing up some stuff at home. I don't know. She's like apparently like famous these days, you know, like being in the cast of like workouts and stuff like that. So I don't know. She's probably, oh, Ashley's 4 times elite. My bad. Sorry. Pandemic years, you know, time starts running together. But Stephanie, I think, is probably just signing autographs somewhere, and she'll be on with us very shortly. But I'm going to open it up with one of my favorite questions. I was actually recorded this YouTube video last week. I was with my photographer. I was mic'd up. We were doing video. And I was kind of like trying to just like put in the push coach energy to record some video, and it just wasn't happening. So I called my video guy, Kurt, who's on with us broadcasting everything to YouTube. And I was like, Kurt, like, I need some help. Like, I'm trying to record some good content, and the Josh fire just isn't there because I don't have a crowd of people to talk to. Like, help me out. Ask me a question that I can answer. And he says, Josh, what kept you motivated at the beginning when times were hard and business was lonely and nothing was working? How did you stay motivated? I was like, oh shit. And so we just went walking down the streets of downtown Tulsa. I was mic'd up and my video guy just followed me around. And I think I might've shot the best video I've ever shot in my entire life, because it wasn't like I was trying to make a point, or, you know, I was just literally telling a story. So the way I want to open it up today, I'm going to come to you first, Ashley. Just want to ask you this. What kept you motivated at the beginning when you were struggling? I think this is like the foundation of everything else that we want to build upon. Give me a little bit of the story. I know it, but people on here don't necessarily know it. And we're just going to start off with a cry party. So get the Kleenexes. Ashley is a crier. I love it. I always hand the mic to her first because it's going to get everybody crying. Ashley, what kept you motivated in the hard times?
So there's been a lot of different times. I've been a partner with my company for 8 years, and this has happened like multiple times, but in all of them, the situation was the way that I got through it was exactly the same. I remembered what it is that I was hoping would happen if I kept pushing through this. So originally I was working a part-time job on my kiddo's nap that I hated with my whole soul. Our life revolved around her nap because I had to like stare at a wall with soundproof headphones so I didn't get distracted, so I could transcribe stuff. And she had to take a good nap. She was, from the time she was a newborn until she was 18 months old, is when I had this job, and we needed the extra income from this job, but I hated it. And our life revolved around her nap because she had to take a good nap. And so when I started in the network marketing space, that was my original goal. Was I do not have a big following. I am boring AF. Why would anybody want to follow me? No one's even joining. My family doesn't even want to join me. Like, I don't even know if I should freaking do this. And the thing that kept me going was, but if this works, I could quit my transcription job. And I knew, like, and I want that. So I kept going. And I was able to in month 2. Once I got very, very clear on reminding myself of that every single day, I was able to do it. Fast forward a couple of years, my husband was living in another state for work, and I hated it. I hated sleeping next to a loaded gun. I hated that I was saying goodnight to him on FaceTime instead of rolling over and kissing him goodnight. And quality time is my main love language. And it doesn't exist when your spouse lives in another state. And our marriage was really struggling. And so what if I made enough money that he could work wherever we wanted, and that our life did not revolve around the job that pays the most and has the best insurance? We could pick the job that the schedule fits our life the best. What if we could pick that job? Well, I'd have to have a lot of leaders, and I'm not a good leader, and I don't know what I'm doing, and okay. But what if I could? What if he was here at night? What if he was here in the morning? What if he was here for dinner? What if that was what our life looked like? What if? I want that. And therefore I was willing to keep going through the people quitting, through the negative messages, through the self-doubt, through the fact that it was not overnight and that I had to keep going. And I reminded myself of it every single day. I went through a season in 2019 that I had 90% of my team quit overnight. And I woke up to like 45 cancellations in one day. And again, I had to like, holy crap, do I even still want to do this? Do I want to rebuild? Is this even what I want anymore? Or was this fun while it lasted? And, my husband has another job now, and maybe I go do something else, and maybe we just let this be a hobby now. Or do I want to be able to take our kids, whatever, what do I actually want? And that's what has kept me going, is getting very clear on, nobody wakes up in the morning and thinks, I can't wait to post on social media. I can't wait to send invites. I can't wait to look. That's not what this is about. You have to have a real, and no one cares about I'm an Enneagram 3, y'all. I will do shady shit for a t-shirt. Like, I love being recognized. I'm not quite at Danny's level that she wants a statue in her honor, but my God, send me a sweatshirt. Like, I want it. Okay. That isn't enough to keep you motivated when you feel like it's not working, though. That will not keep you going. The sweatshirt, the statue, it will not keep you going. You have to know what you want in your real life. Why your spouse, why your partner, why your children, why future you in 5 years will be so glad you did it. Future you will not care that you hit some weird word in an MLM. But they will care about the life that you created as a result. And remembering those things every single day. You don't just do it once and get all fired up and hype and cry and whatever. You do it every single day. And yeah. That's what I got for you.
That's such a good question. I put it in the comments over here, and I want to see your responses. Okay, this is an interactive workshop. Okay, so we're not just gonna like talk at you and then everybody go, oh yay, that was fun, that was great. Remember what I taught you last night? There's a difference between conscious mind and subconscious mind. Conscious mind is when we all go, yay, Ashley, that was so great, you're the best in the world, oh my God, I want to be just like Ashley, which I actually do want to be just like Ashley. But subconscious mind is when we personalize it and we say, wow, what a powerful freaking concept to ask myself day in and day out, what if? I want to see in the comments, what is your what if life? What if I could have, fill in the blank? I want to see it in the comments. What if? I'll throw mine now. Mine is, what if anyone in my family tree never had to think about money again? But not for the sake of like hanging out in Beverly Hills and like throwing parties. What I really want is, what if they had all of their dreams and visions funded? What if my kids had an idea, instead of being like, I don't know if I could do that. What if instead it was like, hey Dad, I have an idea. I think we could like help some people. I think we could like change the world. What do you think? How much do you need, buddy? If you want to help people and you want to change the world, like, let's do that. What if I could have more time with my husband, Lauren said, and do things with our family and not be constrained by either of our jobs or worry about money? Teacher Tina, what if I could match my teaching salary, working less hours, all while helping people? Cheyenne, I had enough stability to let my husband not work all the hours he does and could be here more with all of us. Olivia, what if the family I've created doesn't have to worry about money and get to spend as much quality time together as possible? Notice how very rarely our dreams are about like, so that I could go get a new Louis Vuitton. And by the way, it's totally okay to go get Louis Vuittons, but notice how like we always feel selfish about success, but then when it comes down to it, our success is usually not even about us. It's about somebody else. And so I always say that not chasing success is actually the most selfish thing you can do, because all of the people that were connected to your success no longer get the blessings of the success you could have created. So Danny, I want to bring it over to you. Danny was one of the guest speakers in our Push Elite a couple of years ago that just blew everything to smithereens, and we've stayed in touch ever since, mostly me liking and commenting on her posts, telling her what a badass and rock star she is. Danny, I would love to hear from you. Like, what kept you motivated in the times when it was hard?
I've thought about this question so much, and I feel like I'm struggling to come up with an answer because like I don't have a quit in me. So it's not like I'm ever wavering on whether or not this is what I'm doing, right? Like I thought like, why am I doing this? Because everything's in the shitter. Sure. But then I'm like, snap out of it. Like nothing worth having comes easy, right? And I just have always believed I'm meant for something bigger. Like my third grade teacher told my mom that I would be the first woman president. Like I feel like there's something in me that I'm supposed to do something really big in this life, and this is the vehicle that I'm using to do that, to leave an impact and create a legacy for our family. So I'm obviously an Enneagram 3, like Ashley said, so I'm very recognition, extrinsically motivated by achievement and things like that. So for me, chasing goals is fun because I like to prove to myself like, what can I do? I have all the same thoughts and feelings as everyone else. Like I suck, you get a mean message that knocks you on your ass, right? Somebody quits, somebody switches teams, somebody goes MIA and you're like, wait, what just happened? Like I just had a new coach that waited 3 months to sign up with me, signed up and then sent me a super weird message, quit and blocked me. I'm like, what just happened? That's a head scratcher. But right, like what I've learned along the way is not to make it mean anything about me. But like when things are hard, I've just figured out a way to pivot. And not use it as an excuse to let go of my dreams. I kind of talked about this on the National Wake Up Call on Monday. It's like when we start letting other people's decision change our decisions, change our actions, change our dreams, our goals, like why are we giving so much power to other people? Like there's not a person on this planet that can have my power. No, sorry, that is reserved for me. And so I'm not going to let your lack of drive, determination, freaking motivation, whatever you want to call it, change what I do in my life. Because at the end of the day, like what other people do has no effect on us, right? Like you might say, well, if my whole team quits, then that does affect me. Sure, in the moment, but that doesn't affect what you do overall, right? Like Ashley said, she got 45 people in one day. I mean, that's a major fucking blow. I mean, most people would not come back from that. And she went on to be a multiple time elite after that. So why are we not learning from that? Why, you know what I mean? It's, you probably know, it's, we get 1,000 amazing comments and then one troll says you're ugly. And that is the only thing we focus on. And it's like, we've got to stop. Like, we've got to stop finding reasons to feel bad about ourselves. We've got to stop looking for reasons why things aren't working, because the reason that our dreams are not coming true is because we're not focused on all the reasons why we want that dream. We're focused on why it's not working out, why we're not good enough, why we're not smart enough, why we're not savvy enough. Like it's a racket. And I'm not saying I don't have those thoughts. Like I literally had one of the best months in my business ever. And I got into such a funk that I was like, I can't do this. Does that even make any sense? And I was messaging my mentor at the time and she's like, Danny, you've proven that you can. It's just a matter of, do you want to? And I'm like, yeah, I really do fucking want to. I do want to do this because I want the choices. Like I'm very financially motivated. And when I came into the business, I had a mountain of debt, a mountain. And you know what I mean? Like for that should have been enough. But I'm very motivated to do this because I want freedom to be where I want, when I want, with who I want, whenever I want. And most people don't have that. And I worked a job for 9 years that, by the by, I was fired at the end of, where I wasn't allowed to take time off. And if I did, I came back walking on eggshells, not knowing if I was going to lose my job because I had the audacity to take a fucking day off. Right. And that is such a toxic way to live. And no, I'm not going to have anyone tell me I can't be at a holiday with my family, or go to my daughter's midday assembly, or take her to freaking taekwondo. Like, no way. I'm not going to live that life. And the great thing is we don't have to, but so many people are caught in this trap of, well, this is how it's done. You have to do this. No, you can do whatever you want. And that is the freaking beauty of life. And one of the beauties of the space that we are in. So why would I give up on that? I certainly wouldn't.
I love that so freaking much. And here's what's, can I explain to you guys from a psychology side what's going on in Danny's brain? This doesn't happen quite as naturally for everyone. It took me personally like a couple years of like training and personal growth and reprogramming to get this. By the way, I'm so thankful for that teacher that you had. That was like, you're going to be the first woman president, because can you guys hear that was a subconscious seed planted many years ago. And here's why success can be harder. I'm using air quotes here because I believe it's the same level of hard, but it can feel harder for some people. If you didn't have the same type of support and you had people discouraging you along the way instead of encouraging you along the way, it will take a little bit more work to get your brain to where it works the way Danny's works, okay? And I just want to explain to you kind of what's happening here. And I want to share this slide. This is literally what we teach our life coaches. So Danny and Ashley and Steph have all done our life coach certification. We have these facts. These are things that we can all see that no one can argue with. So someone didn't message me back. Let's pretend this person, you guys were having like the greatest conversation in the world. This person was like, oh my God, I love this. This is incredible. This is everything I need. This will literally change my life forever. And you're like, okay, awesome. Here's everything it comes with and here's what it costs. And then they just go ghost forever. Or like Danny said, you know, they send you a weird message and block you. You're like, what? And here's what's naturally happening. We have this thing called a head voice that we talked about last night. Do you guys remember that? Talking about the head versus the heart. Our head has an initial response in the form of a story based on the programming that we have. So if you have bad programming, this voice will almost always say something like, OMG, I must have screwed up. I must be salesy. I must suck. I'm the worst in the world. Anybody ever experienced that? And what does this do? It creates feelings. What are these feelings? Suck, shame, doubt, fear, freeze. Like anyone ever, like literally you're just like, oh my God, I'm just literally like frozen, right? And when we feel suck, shame, doubt, fear, and freeze, what kind of actions do we take? Usually no actions, or apparently we attract a lot of weird people who, when they're dealing with this, they go clean their house. Not me. I do not clean when I feel like shit. But apparently there's some people who clean their house to avoid work. So we call that like buffering. So buffering is essentially taking actions that are not the important ones to avoid what we know we should be doing. Does that make sense? Or if you are a rule follower, you go ahead and do your tracker anyways because you want to do things right. And I call this unaligned action. I think my keyboard just went dead. That's fun. And then we end up manifesting. What do we manifest when we take no actions, or we clean the house, or we buffer, or we take unaligned? What do we end up manifesting? Are you ready for this? You ready for this? Here's what I love to do. I like to come up here and I like to just copy and paste the story. We end up manifesting that we have screwed up. We end up manifesting that we must suck. We end up manifesting worst in the world. Because if you aren't doing any of the things that you're supposed to do, I mean, I don't want to say this to anyone's face, but like, As an entrepreneur and a leader, you kind of are screwing up if you're not doing any of the right things, right? So this is the natural reaction that most people have. Now, you heard it from Danny. She has these exact same head voices. The difference is in how quickly she pivots. What most people do is they sit in this, and they will sit in it for hours, days, weeks, months. This is why accountability becomes really important. In my programs, I say you might have a bad day, but the accountability will reset you to make sure you don't have a bad week, because bad weeks turn into bad months, turn into bad quarters, turn into bad years. But if we can have a good week, guess what? It's a lot easier to have a good month. If we have a good month, it's a lot easier to have a good quarter. And if we have a good quarter, it's a lot easier to have a good year. Does that make sense? That is the compound effect. So here's what she's kind of doing naturally. And, you know, we could probably dig into her story and find out how and why and where this was developed. Sometimes, honestly, it just comes from a compound effect of support and taking action at a younger age. Some people took a lot of action at a younger age. Some people weren't trained in that at a younger age. Okay. We have the same fact. Someone didn't message me back. Okay. But Danny pivots from, oh my God, I'm the worst in the world, I'm salesy, I suck, whatever, blah, 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 into her heart voice. Heart voice coming down to here, pointing to the future, rooted in abundance, expresses itself through hope, faith, strength, purpose, potential, love. Now, we all have different words that we kind of tend to gravitate toward, and that's why in a one-on-one coaching session, when you get on with a master coach, they're going to go through these words and find the one that hits home with you. But just knowing Danny's personality, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that her biggest heart voice, tell me if you guys agree with this, is strength. She's like, I don't care. I will find a way to win. Like, that's her thing. Now, for some people, if you're an Enneagram 2, it's probably purpose. For others, it might be faith or love. But for Danny specifically, it's strength. So she says, instead of, oh my God, I suck, I'm the worst in the world, someone didn't message me back, she says, and she literally already said this, what they do says nothing about me. That's the story she chooses. And because she makes that choice, how does she feel? Powerful, unstoppable, worthy, freaking badass. And as a result, what actions does she take? Talks to another girl, makes another post, probably asks, how can I get more of these convos? If some are going to bail on me, I better have more convos. Like, I better have more people to talk to. And then what does she manifest? Let's copy and paste. She literally manifests what they do says nothing about me. She manifests the success she wants. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, I'm going to be real. Danny's a little bit of a freak of nature in the fact that she's gotten really good at doing this by herself, and not everyone can do that, which is okay. That's why a lot of us need coaches. That's why I needed John Maxwell. That's why I still pay a mentor. So here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to listen to Danny and be like, well, I'm not like that. Well, you're right. In your current state, you might not be like that. But she has human wiring the same way you do. And everything she is saying and everything she is doing are the same things you can say and do if you train yourself to do it. Just like watching Stephanie and Jericho work out together. You might be like, I can't do that. Actually, you can. You just can't do it yet because you haven't put in enough days and hours and time to become that. Does that make sense? I would just dare you. I just dare everyone on here to go to my YouTube channel sometime today and watch my very first video I posted. I very intentionally kept it there because I want people to see, like, he has so much charisma and energy and knows what to say. Video number 1 is, hi, my name is Josh Coates, and I'm a member of the John Maxwell team. It's the goofiest shit you have ever seen in your life. But I was willing to be goofy AF over and over and over and over until it clicked. Does that make sense? So Danny is not superhuman. What she is what we as humans are supposed to evolve into. Does that make sense? I just really want to make that clear. Okay. When you see a powerful leader, that is the goal is for all of us to evolve into human beings who live from the heart space. That's the goal. Can you do that today? Probably not. That's okay. That's why we practice. Stephanie, how are you, friend? So good to see you this morning. I'm so excited to hear from you. The first question that we had was, what was the thing that motivated you when things were the hardest? And feel free to speak of this from a business side. I know for you, you also have like 100-pound like weight loss journey. So wherever you want to go with that, I would just love to hear from you. Like when times were hard and you weren't seeing the result you wanted to see, what kept you going?
Hi, thank you for having me. I would say that the pain of staying the same just became too painful. And any pain that I experienced overcoming obstacles, working out when I had to modify the modifier and like cry during the workout because I couldn't do it, or inviting people or going live because I was asked to, because I had a goal that I wanted to go for. None of that was as scary or painful as it was to just continue living in the way that the mindset that I was living in, and in the suffering that I was choosing. And there was some, rough circumstances leading up to that, but I was choosing the suffering portion. And I suppose that choosing it for long enough really taught me that whatever obstacle comes up, whatever feels hard, choosing the suffering is a choice, and it's not going to be as hard to overcome anything here as it is to live with fear and regret and shame and what ifs and why nots. And I think it's so funny that you had just mentioned that video, because one of the gals actually on this call who I'm mentoring right now and is on my Team Cup, she had gone back and watched a video from like 3 months into coaching for me. And it was like my first video in the team page. Danny had asked me to share something, and I saw her like it, and I was like, what is this? I went to go watch it. And obviously I look physically very different, but my spirit is so different. And this is how I open the call. Hi guys, this is Stephanie. Danny asked me to go on. I was so quiet and so unsure of myself and so different, right? And I didn't have at that point much evidence. I had some success, but I didn't have much success. I didn't have much evidence. I wasn't where I thought, quote unquote, I should be with the effort and the obstacles that I was going through. But that wasn't my loudest soundtrack. If you've listened to soundtracks by John Acuff, right? My loudest soundtrack was, this is bringing me back to life. This is making me a better mom. This is giving me challenge. And I think I think there's nothing wrong with ranks or income or whatever it is being something that challenges you enough to make you step into the next version of yourself, because the point of it is who you become, right? And so did I have, stories, soundtracks that I was telling myself that were maybe a little disempowering? Yes, but I was searching for other stories that were driving me and propelling me to keep showing up. And if there's one thing about me that has been true since not the moment I started, because my coming out as a in my business post was really weird and big, and then nothing happened for 2 months. Like I did nothing. But after I made the decision to use the vehicle of my health journey, the vehicle of my business, the vehicle of growth and mindset and personal development, when I made the decision to use those to become who I am and to help me grow and just come alive and help other people feel inspired to grow and come alive and challenge themselves and embrace the struggle and all of that, I've never been scared to look like a freaking idiot and to look silly and to ask for what I want, even if I know it's a hard no. That includes invites to the business, but it also includes weird stuff, like not weird stuff, but it includes just the most random things, right? Like I probably asked to hang out with Jericho long before it was ever, yeah, I'll hang out with you, right? And like Danny sent me a screenshot the other day, like this is a silly example, but on Poshmark, there's like this sports bra I want, and it's really hard to find. I like posted in the comment section on the bra, and I'm like, whoever bought this, message me. I will pay top dollar for this bra, right? And Danny's like, I'm dead that you said that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm always willing to look like an idiot, because what if someone messages me? And what if they need the $50 that I'll pay for it? And what if I get the sports bra? I'm going to be stoked about it, and I'm going to have a really good story to tell people about that sports bra that's going to inspire someone to take an action and put themselves out there. But that kind of mindset, it doesn't require you to now do. I think it's absolutely necessary to do all the mindset work to change the stories to get to your heart voice. Absolutely. But it doesn't require you to be from A to Z. It requires you to be willing to do the work. It doesn't require you to have found your heart voice already to be able to take action, because competency creates confidence, and it ripples and ripples and ripples. And if you're willing to try so that you can become competent, you'll gain more confidence to be willing to try. And along the way, you start to find your heart voice. You start to find your purpose. You start to find and experience things and impact and conversations and obstacles and challenges and failures and getting back ups that you would have never imagined if you didn't take the steps. So it's just the brightness of like, my life can be better, so I'm willing to stumble to that. And only ever looking back just to see how far I've come.
So freaking good, friend. So freaking good. And yes, action has to be paired with anything you do. So even, like one of the things that I got really good at when I first signed up with John Maxwell was like reading a book, doing the homework, actually answering the questions at the end of the chapter. I know Ashley's vibing with that, because I remember a very specific conversation we had years ago when she was like, okay, from now on, I'm actually doing the questions at the end. I'm not reading 10 pages to read 10 pages. I'm reading 10 pages to find out what to actually go do with this. And that's one of the reasons I want you guys engaging in the comments, is because this is not a freaking circus. This isn't the Ashley, Steph, and Danny show and everyone pays $20 to have a good time and eat some popcorn and then we go about our day. Like, this needs to be a transformation experience, which means everything you're hearing needs to be internalized. So the loudest soundtrack. I love. I've never read that book, but that's such a cool thing. I always talk about our limiting beliefs as these unconscious affirmations that are playing like a broken record in the back of our head. And at some point, you do have to make a choice to choose a new song. And you have to make a choice to go take some action with that new song. So speaking of action, what is the action you are currently avoiding in your business? I'm not giving you 22 actions. I'm not giving you a list of things you can compare yourself to. I'm asking you, from your own perspective, what is the action you believe you should be doing more of that you are like really holding back on? I'd love to see that in the comments. I know you guys thought you were just going to show up and have a good time, and nah, sorry, I'm a push coach. That's not going to happen. We're going to grow today. Messaging, sending personal invites, expanding to bigger people, social media posts. It's so awkward. It is. It really is, Melanie. It's so awkward until you've done it so many times that it's just what you do. Right? Everything is awkward. Everything is awkward. Connecting and inviting, showing up live on video, inviting privately, recruiting personally. So here's my challenge to you today. While you've got all this energy in your system from us, use it to go do the thing that scares you. Do it before lunch. It's 10:42 a.m. Central Time. If you're on Eastern Time, you have a little less time than the rest of us. Do it before. Don't even do it before the end of the day. Do it before lunch. If you're eating lunch, awesome. Do it while you eat. Not every day. I don't think that's a healthy habit to work while you eat, but just for today, go ahead and do that. Do it today. Don't be like, yeah, that's really good. I'm going to write that down and we're going to do that later. Later will become never, because later you won't have Stephanie and Ashley and Danny cheering you on. And so what I found to be really powerful is that, like, the motivation that comes from an event is only as valuable as what you do with it right away. Because the reality is the hype will be gone when you wake up tomorrow. But the routine or the action that you took today has the ability to get a snowball started. So don't use the energy to just feel better. Remember, that's conscious mind stuff. Use the energy to actually go do something. Okay, so we're going to go in the opposite order for this next question, because I know that Stephanie has an appointment she has to get to. So the next question is this: what is the number one thing you've done to build a following on social media or somewhere else, if it's somewhere else for you? And I would just love to have some type of a tangible tip for people that are like, I'm posting every single day, I'm doing like blah, blah, blah. Can you give Stephanie your kind of like top tangible tip that you like to pass off maybe to like your team or people that you're training on how to get started? And maybe it's growing your following. Maybe it's just like finding people. Like, honestly, like, I think all anybody cares about is if I can get people, whether they found me or I found them, I just need people. So Steph, I'd love to hear your top tip on that.
Yeah. And actually, I'm at work right now. That's why.
Sweet.
So I'm only saying that because I just want to remind you all that you can work and build a really great business at the same time, and have kids and do all the things. It's a choice. Okay. So social media. I like that question because I was in a group training yesterday and someone was like, oh, she's an influencer. And I was like, wait, what? And it was just like a strange word to me, like, not that I've never heard the word, obviously, but I was kind of like, that's interesting. Like, I feel way more interesting than that, like, than using that word to explain me, even though influence is a very powerful word, and like the influence model and all of that is powerful, but the way that it's used in conversation in a group when they're talking about training that knows nothing about my business or what I do, or how I gained the community that I have, it felt weird. And someone was like, yeah, she's also really a good person and really interesting, and she has a lot to say. And I'm like, thank you. Like, that's a way better compliment to me. And then I'm like, okay, but this is what I want to share with you guys is anyone that's been connected with me for any amount of time would know that I've never tried to make it look perfect. I've never tried to have the perfect background. Like, I will not focus on my obstacles. I will not openly share private, personal things my family is struggling with, but I will openly share that we are going through something. People don't need to know the details to understand, hey, I'm going through this. It feels crippling to work out right now, but I'm doing it. And if I can, you can too, because I spent 3 years not doing it and being crippled by the same feeling I had this morning, and kind of sharing and really the whole message of, if I can do it, you can too, is really, really loud. And everything I share, everything I do, and I'm willing to get on my stories and talk like this, like mom, like just talk for like 10 minutes. And I know that 90% of people, 95% of people after a first one are just going to skip right through or close out my story and not listen. And I don't care, because the one person that needs to hear it is going to hear it. And that's how you make an impact. And that's how, you build credibility, because even the people that aren't willing to take the time to listen to what you're blabbing about, they know that you were on there talking passionately about something, because you can click through and see the beginning of each story being like, like I'm like into it, I'm passionate. And they don't even have to listen to it to know that I'm putting my heart and soul out there so that they can have an experience while they're watching. And if they don't watch, they have that trust that they can come back and get that when they need it, when they want to hear it most. And I will, like, just little tangible or tactical things, if you will. I do, when I start that way, I'll say, hey, if you've struggled with this, listen, like, bear with me here because I have something really powerful for you, right? And, or if I'm going to talk about Shakeology, I'll go on for 4 minutes about Shakeology. Shakeology is a product that I drink, and I'll just go get on there and be like, if you don't want to hear about it, skip right on through because I'm going to talk about it. But if you want to hear about XYZ, I'm not trying to plug the product right now, but I'll say right up front what they get out of it and say, if you want to hear about XYZ benefits, then listen for a minute. And the person who needs to listen will listen. I can save it onto the highlights on my Instagram, the featured on my Facebook, and it can be there to be watched back later. And as far as building connections, I think it's when I'm willing to just like not get my avatar or my niche perfectly and not marry my avatar or niche, but have one for the sake of what I'm saying in that moment. Maybe it's not my one big dream team person, but maybe I'm like, I don't know why. I feel like someone out there feels this right now, so I'm just going to say it. The amount of connections I've made on the most random things, right? Like, oh, well, maybe you're watching this and you always roll your eyes and you're like, oh, yeah, that's great. She loves this and that. But maybe you walk, like you saw a picture of you and your husband and you missed the joy that you could emit on a photo, right? Like the most random thing. And I'm like, well, then you should have this conversation or let's talk about, or how can you, and make them think differently while they're watching when they feel like they've been directly targeted. That's one of the things that got me started to begin with. I felt like I was being directly spoken to. I wasn't, but it felt like that. So even if I'm like, this is offlandish, like if something pops into my brain, heard this thing once and it was like ideas float around and they'll like pop onto you. And if you do nothing with it, it like floats onto someone else. And it's a little weird and whatever, but like, I can't remember where I got it. I'll share the resource if I can think of it. I really like it because there's so many times where I've been driving and thought of something so good to share, like something so impactful. And if I don't take action on it, the energy, just like what Josh was talking about, the energy is not there. The conviction is not there. And half the time I'll forget and be like, dang it, I was so excited about something in my car. But the other tangible thing I would have with making connections, aside from speak directly to whoever, and if that person's not there, first of all, you don't even know that. I talk to people still now that are like, 3 years ago, you made this post about how you cried because you were tagged in a photo at a wedding that you didn't like. And I had just had that experience, right? Like, a year ago or a long time ago, you said this on your stories. Like, be willing to just like say the out there stuff because someone's going to connect with it. And then the other tangible one would be, don't forget how many people and connections you have already in your real life. And yes, it's great to build your community and to make new connections and really leverage your social media as an opportunity to grow more into yourself and to be more authentic and to get more skin in the game. That's what's so fun about social media, is like you ask your friends to support your business adventure. You put yourself out there and say what your goal is. It's going to be a little harder to let that next obstacle stop you because now you have more skin in the game, right? That's what I remember getting on a Zoom with my coach, partner, whatever, Danny, and she was like, I'm not going to get back on Zoom with you until you post on social media. And I'm like, what? I don't want to, like I didn't want to. I wasn't quote unquote ready to share myself with the world and let everyone know how far I had gone down my slippery slope when I had first started. But sharing that, you automatically have that skin in the game. Sharing your vision, write this down, write yourself a post. I literally, this cannot be something where I see one person do this and I know exactly which one person on this entire call it would be too. I want to actually see you guys do this. Make a post, dear 2024, Ashley, Katie, Trisha, whatever your name is. This is the vision I have for how you start 2024, what you're chasing, what you're doing, and what you accomplished in that last 4 months of August. And you can take that and you can tweak that however you want. But the main point of that is I want you to write the vision you have for yourself. And it cannot be something so simple as you've high-fived yourself in the mirror every day. That is great. But I want something that feels a little scary and a little hard to accomplish. And I want you to get to January 1st and be like, okay, I did 50% of that. And the other 50% you're going to do in 2024. I want you guys to write that post and put yourself out there and get that skin in the game. And don't forget the connections that you already have in life. Go to your Facebook. Go find, when you meet, I think this is something that most people miss the mark on. 2 things. One, when you meet people in person, not connecting with them. If I have talked to you at the grocery store, we are connected on social media if you have one. If I met you in passing, I probably spent 10 minutes hunting you down on social media if you were interesting to me. If I met you on a cruise ship in the gym, yeah, I have like 10 people on Facebook that I met in the gym on a cruise ship in January. I will find you and connect with you. And you, like, listen, they don't have to follow back. I can unfollow, I can unfriend. They don't have to accept my friend request. But the willingness to market in person and connect with every single person. If I met you when I was like 15, I'm adding you on Facebook. Don't forget the power of those connections, because there really is a level of trust that's already built. A lot of people forget how many connections you haven't offered whatever you have to offer. How many people you really haven't said, hey, best friend, really important person in my life who might come off as unsupportive to me. This matters to me. I appreciate your support and I would love you to be a part of it. And if you don't want to be a part of it, I really appreciate your support, because it means a lot to me and it's a part of who I'm becoming and who I want to be. I think sometimes we forget we didn't have that conversation with someone. And maybe that someone's feeling like they're left out of this, they're being left behind, and you're going on to some big new life and you're better than them. And slowing down and identifying and becoming aware and observing where your actual relationships are, not what you're saying in your head that they think, but like what communication, what are the facts of the relationship? What has actually taken place? What do you know and don't you know? And if it's a connection in your life that matters enough to you that it affects your energy, if it's not well, then you're going to have to be willing to have that vulnerable, uncomfortable, annoying, takes time out of your schedule conversation and stand your ground. And the more you do that, when I started life coaching, I remember getting in the pool. And if you don't know what that means, basically it means when you can't separate the facts from the story that they are telling themselves when you're life coaching someone, especially as someone that's like an empath, you're going to get right in it with them and you're going to start feeling the emotions they have around it. And it's just like getting in the pool. You can't help someone out of the pool if you're in it drowning with them and can't reach the bottom, right? And so when I first started, I really identified that as an obstacle of mine right away. I'm getting in the pool with them. I'm not speaking the highest version of them. I'm not staying out of the story. I'm getting involved, or I'm relating to it, or whatever that looks like. But I was willing to continue doing it and get through the really uncomfortable, like where at first I was like, I actually really do not like this life coaching thing. I don't want to life coach people that have mindsets like that, right? But that's not true, because I had mindsets like that. And sometimes people just need some guidance into a different area of thinking, into some different questions. Sometimes they just need influence. Sometimes they just need to see what the facts are and separate it and discover what their heart is telling them and act from that place instead of from a place of fear and scarcity. And being willing to have that conversation with people, being willing to take it past the, no, I'm not ready, or no, I don't have money. And instead of going, oh, I understand, let me know when you're ready. That conversation's dead. That person is never joining you. If you say, I understand, let me know when you're ready. There are maybe magical unicorns in the universe that might, but overall, you have just went down to their level. You have not challenged their thinking. You have not given them an opportunity to think differently. You're like, okay, here's the ball in the pool. Come on out later, right? And you like walk away. You being able to say, you know, I actually am going to slow down and take the extra second, even if they might not like it. I'm going to give them the opportunity to think differently. I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to exercise the influence model, right? I'm going to challenge them. I'm going to speak to the highest version of them. You can still validate their struggles, even though the struggle tends to be a choice. You can validate what they're going through. You can validate their situations and circumstances, but you can at the same time call them to a higher version of themselves. And you can do that in your posts too. You can talk about, you know, the person who feels like they're waiting for the support of the world to start a business that means so much to them. I know what that feels like, and I've been there, but I want to ask you a question right now. And then lead into a question, right? Like lead into a question that makes them not a are you ready, or like what would it look like if all your dreams came true? A question that makes them, instead of thinking of their scarcity, instead of thinking of what they might lose by starting this business, a question that makes them think of what might they gain by starting this business. A question of, what if you did fail, but what if you stood back up and it challenged you to overcome something that you don't like about yourself and face it? And what if you got to the other end of that and you could look back and you could be grateful for an obstacle in your life and the way you handled it and the way that you used crushing your fears or taking action on your dreams instead of living in your fears, the way you used that motion to get through an obstacle, and how proud it made you on the other end of that. Because the obstacles are inevitable, but we can take these opportunities in our dreams and we can use them to overcome obstacles and be proud of ourselves. Or we can sit in the fear and the obstacle owns us. Right? That's just an example off the top of my head of a post you can make that makes them think differently. I'll stop because I feel like I could go all day on this one.
Hey, so Stephanie gave us a challenge, and that was to make your future self post. Who's ready to do that? Steph, that was a lot of really good stuff. I appreciate it so much. So here's what we're going to do. Make your 2024 post today. We're just doing all things today, friends. Today. Tag me, tag Stephanie, tag Danielle, tag Ashley. Okay. We're going to give away $100 to someone at random that does it. And we're also going to give away a free month in our new program that we're working on. Many of you saw me talk about that last night. So we've got the Push Elite that we run for anyone that's diamond and above. If you're interested in that, you can reach out to me and apply for that. But we're basically creating a version of the Push Elite that anyone can join with the same content, the same accountability. We're working on launching that next month. We're not really pitching it to anybody. We're just working on it in the background right now. We're going to give someone a free month in that program, but you got to take action today. I really love to reward people who take immediate action. It's one of the reasons we did giveaways on the webinar. I just want to see like who are the people who take action. Like if I challenge you to take a picture of yourself and post it on Instagram, I'm willing to give away money. I just want to find out who my action takers are. And as you've probably noticed, we reach out to every single person who takes action because those are the kind of people we want to work with. Like we don't want to work with people who aren't even willing to take a picture and tag me on their stories. Like we want to work with people who take action because all the programs in the world won't help non-action takers. So get that done today. Tag me, tag Steph, tag Danny, tag Ashley, and let's do some giveaways tonight. And we'll announce winners in our stories later. Sound good?
One thing.
Yeah.
Not today. Like literally before you leave wherever you're sitting.
Okay.
Do
okay.
not say I'll go post
Deal.
this later tonight. Like do it before you walk out of whatever room you're in.
Okay. So Stephanie has a new rule. It has to be done by let's say noon Central. So 1 o'clock Eastern, that's 10 o'clock Pacific. Gotta get done. I mean, if you just type in our names, it'll pop up. Like there's only one Josh Coates. There's only Danny is Daily Dose of Danny. But if you type in Danny Detra, it pops. Like I don't actually have everyone's usernames memorized, but I tag Danny and Ashley and Stephanie and like all the stuff for this event. I just type in their name and it pops right up. Okay, awesome. Where do you find their whole name on their Zoom square right now? Stephanie is Stephanie Noble, but everyone else, it's just literally on their Zoom square. You can just like look at their square. Danny Detra, Ashley McClellan. Okay, Danny, tips on reaching more people, new people, connecting, like wherever you want to go with that. Like I'll kind of like leave that up to you, whatever you feel like is like your jam that you want to talk about. Sound good?
Sounds great. So in all transparency, my social media grows like fucking turtle stuck in molasses. So like but with saying that, I have no problem getting people signed up month in and month out. My first summit should have been 2015, but I signed up at the beginning of that year. And then my best friend literally schedules her life like 3 years in advance. Super annoying. And so her baby shower was the weekend of Summit that year. So even though I earned my free ticket, I didn't attend that year. So my first summit was 2016. And I went by myself with 2 other gals from my larger team because I didn't have a working team, even though I was a diamond. And one of the gals that I roomed with, who is now my very good friend in life, because I only met her through partnering, but she said to me, you know, if I didn't know you in real life, I wouldn't really know you from your social media. And I was so fucking offended because I thought I had social like on freaking lock. Like I was consistent AF. I posted 3 to 5 times a day, just like my, you know, larger team told me to do. If you don't know, the person who signed me up quit. So I never really had anyone helping me. I just kind of like made up all this stuff that I wanted to do and then I just go do it. But so I was so freaking offended. But what I'm really good at is gut checking myself and being like, okay, like what's the actual sitch here? So I looked over my posts and she was right. It was all very surface level. And I'm like, okay, how do I dive below the surface and really let people into my world, which is not really my thing. Stephanie will tell you that. I don't really let people get close to me, not because I have any kind of problem, but I just am very particular about who I let get very close to me. I have a lot of friends, but like close friends, I keep that very tight. And so as Enneagram 3, I don't like to be vulnerable. I don't like to look weak. I don't want to share skeletons in my closet. And at that time, Brene Brown's book, The Power of Vulnerability, was very big. And it was all about like shining light on your gremlins. So up until that point, I had never talked about the debt that I had. I hadn't really shared anything that was sad or sombersome or, you know, whatever. Like everything was like, I'm just a very bubbly, happy person. So that's the kind of stuff that I shared. And what I found was when I started to open myself up more, not that I was ever not honest, because like that is my thing. Like I'm literally Jim Carrey from Liar Liar. Like I have to tell the truth or like I'll like punch myself in the face. Like I was always honest, but I hid a lot of things like my debt. And when I started opening up about those things, I started gaining more traction because people could relate to me. People could see themselves in me. When I started talking about the hardness of the business versus just look at the trips and look at the swag and look at the time freedom and having lunch in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, right? Well, the reason why I was doing that is because I lost my fucking jobs. Like I didn't have a job other than partnering. So that's why I was able to have lunch in the middle of the fucking week. Right. But like when I open about, like it took me over a month to share that I had gotten fired because I was so embarrassed for myself. But once I started doing that is when things really started taking off for me. And I was actually finding the people that I wanted to do this with. Okay. Like I've never had a problem signing people up, but what was happening was I was signing up people who didn't understand the hard. They saw the fun, the trips, the swag. So they thought it was easy. And when I started, I had another pivotal moment is when I signed up a girl, she never hit Success Club and then quit. And she was like, I didn't realize it would be this hard. Light bulb. Okay. You're not talking about the hard. So you're not finding people who want to work hard. And so I really had to change my whole approach, right? Like it wasn't just about flexing and doing all things. Like I had to talk about the hard. And then I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And like I said on the National Wake Up Call, people probably think this is easy for me. No, it is very hard for me to work out. Like when I went through the Morning Meltdown test group, like there were things I physically couldn't do. Right. And like I have to do everything on my fingertips because I can't flatten my hands. Like this is very hard for me. And so if I hid that, then I would be doing a disservice to others out there who might be going through something similar or have physical ailments, right? Like it's not about sharing everything in your closet, but it's just being open and honest about what you're going through, what your experience is, things that happen to you. Like I know people always like to say social media is the highlight reel. And I do share a lot of positive stuff. But for me, social media is 100% real. It's the highs, it's the lows, it's the in between, it's everything. I mean, you can go look at my social media. Last Thursday, fucking missed the goal again, dropped rank. Woo, you're right. Like it is 100% real for me. And I think that's what people like about me is that I am real, raw, and honest, whether no matter how it's going to make me quote unquote look. I just show up 100% authentically as myself. And because of that, I have been met with a lot of mean messages. I have been met with, I'm unfollowing you. I have been met with, bitch, you don't deserve a child. Yes, somebody said that to me. Like people get really mad when you are 100% yourself. But guess what? They were never going to buy from me anyways. And at one point, someone was like, girl, you are the queen of rappel marketing, which I was also very fucking offended. But like, if that is going to get me closer to the people that I truly want to work with, to the people who truly enjoy my content and want to engage and want to cheer me on and want to be a part of this or just, you know, cheer from the sidelines, like that's what we should be doing. So I don't have a lot of like, you should do this and you'll grow by 1,000 followers, right? But like if you show up 100% authentically yourself and be willing to pivot, being willing to dive below the surface and just share the real, the raw and everything, right? You will find your people.
I dig the real and the raw because we all have a different version of that, don't we? Like one of the things that I like try to tell people is like, don't try to pretend you're a push coach if you're not Josh Coates. Like, I invented push coaching because I'm a hard ass and that's my love language. And I attract people that have that love language. But real and raw, I think, is so important. I love all of that, Danny. Real and raw is so important because it's individualized. And to me, that's one of the number one things people miss out on when it comes to social media is like everyone wants what is the exact thing you did, and the exact thing would be different for every single person that's had success because every single person is real and raw in different ways. Like if you tried to go copy all of my videos, it'd be like super weird if you don't have my same grit and personality and like it wouldn't work. You know, like it would be super weird. For some of you, your strength is my weakness and vice versa. And that's the thing that I think is really important. How many of you heard that Danny is Enneagram 3? How many of you from hearing her talk would assume that Stephanie is also an Enneagram 3? You would assume wrong. She is an Enneagram 2 that has just found her confidence and found her fire. And I think that's like such an important thing is like, I think sometimes we're like, well, I need to be like that or sound like that or come across and like, no, that was just all the way raw Danny. Who is all the way raw you? And maybe for you, all the way raw is like the opposite of me. Maybe you're the greatest listener in the world. And you know what? That can also be really powerful. For those of you that go grab that bundle for $9.99, I have a whole call that I did for the Push Elite last week on how to use my questions in the inbox to close sales left and right. I actually have to learn to shut up when it's time to actually have a sales conversation, because me talking too much doesn't actually help the other person to feel heard and understood and put them on a path where I can find out what the hell they care about. So my charisma is my greatest strength for calls, presentations, but it's actually my greatest weakness when it comes to one-on-one sales, because one-on-one sales is not a convincing game, it's a listening game. And so you might be like, oh my God, I can never be like Danny or Josh because I'm not so outgoing. Awesome. Go use your listening powers to close sales like crazy in the DMs. All you need is just a nice little flow, which I'll give you, by the way, $9.99. Most of you have like already bought it. So I'm not even, at this point, I'm not even like trying to convince you to give me $10. I don't need fucking $10. Okay. Like I'm fine over here. I don't need $10, but I want you to go watch and take action on these videos because it will literally change the way you do business. Ashley, would love to hear social media tips from you. I'm also more than happy if you want to. I mean, I'm going to leave it up to you, let you go wherever you want to go. I know you have like what I call like the 20-minute power hour. If you want to share some things from that, or if you have some other things that are on your heart that you want to share, whatever you want to dive into, let it out.
Okay. So hopefully they kind of cross into each other. So, cool. And I'm glad I'm going last, because I'm not going to repeat anything they said, because I would have repeated exactly what they said. I think I was actually thinking about this question, like, what do Danny and Steph and I, what do we all have in common? We're all incredibly vulnerable and we are ourselves. So if there is anything you take away, we all have the same answer on that. You have to show up as yourself. And yourself, like Danny said, will offend people. It will repel people. And that's a good thing, because you will push away the people that you don't actually like, that you don't actually want to hang out with, you don't actually want to build a relationship with, because everybody in this business is afraid of being salesy and spammy and whatever. Okay, you're going to be salesy and spammy and weird if you're talking to people you don't actually like, or you're talking about things you don't actually care about. And so we're actually, rather than me like talking at you, we're going to do like interactive. Like I want you guys to drop some shit in the chat. Okay. So when it comes to, here's a tangible, tactical mini workshop. This is how I find where I expand on social media. Okay. You ready? And I have never had a post go viral that brought me, I've had something get 1 million views before and it brought me followers. None of them ended up, it was people who, it didn't turn into sales. Like it turned into like freaking hell. I just want to block all these people because they don't actually know me. They followed me from some reel. Okay. And Danny knows I have a fear of going viral. I don't want to go viral because I feel like people find me for the wrong reason. I want people to like actually know me, and I would rather dig deep than dig wide. Okay. So I'm cool with the fact that my following is not, I don't have a billion followers. Okay. And I am working on my fear of being viral. Okay. That being said, how am I finding people? I want you to think in your head right now, when you're talking to, or it can be your like little arrow thing. You know, when you go into stories or into a post, you have a post and you click the little arrow, the people that it brings up right here, those 5 people, I want you to tell me in the chat, who are those 5 people? And what is it that you like to talk to them about? You don't have to tell me like all 5 of them, but like, what is it you like to talk to these people about? So while you guys are looking at it, while you're thinking about it, recording people, you best be pulling this up, okay? Number 1 person is my spouse. We send each other incredibly inappropriate humor. Like, oh my hell, the things that, and it's not him sending me shit. I send him stuff that he is then sending to all his guy friends. And they are all dying laughing. And he's sitting here thinking, my wife sent me that. Like, I have a really inappropriate sense of humor sometimes, y'all. Nobody can say that's what she said joke like me. Okay. Nobody. Second person is my cousin. She and I send each other like, you tell your husband something 3 weeks ago and you've told him like 4,000 times. And then today he's like shocked that there's something on the calendar that you're like, are you kidding? I told you so many times. Are you kidding? Okay. And we send each other like mom life things and whatever. Okay. Then it's she's my best friend that we went to high school together, but we were not friends. We've become friends because of social media, that we talk about everything. She knows more about my life than my husband, and then her. She knows more about my life than my mom. She knows more about my life than my sister. She knows everything about my life. Every time I'm struggling, we talk a lot about books, we talk about marriage, we talk about whatever. Okay. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that I talk to about books. If you do not know about me, homegirl's best friend is my Kindle, other than, my spouse and Danny and all the things I'm supposed to say right now. My Kindle is my best friend. Okay. I love to read fiction, like so much. Since I bought my Kindle a little over 2 years ago, I'm coming up on 700 fiction books. Like, I'm obsessed with reading. It has been something I've loved my whole life, that I was teased about, that I suppressed because it makes me a nerd and whatever. And then I got into the business world, and you're supposed to do personal development. If you have extra time, you're supposed to build your dreams. Who needs Netflix? You don't have time for fiction. You need to read PD. And so I suppressed the hell out of that side of me until 2 years ago. Okay, what did I just tell you? Oh, and I left one out that is, let's see, let's look at my top 5. 3 of those 5 people, I also send college football memes. Okay. I just told you where I'm expanding on social media. I'm expanding with people who are engaging in content about football, because BYU football is half my personality, especially starting in, what's today, Thursday? We got 9 days. We got 9 days. 9 days. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. 9 days. I can do it. I can make it 9 days. Okay. Like, it's half my personality. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine. Okay. I post about books. I love books. I love books. I create posts about books. I have stories about books, and I go engage with book accounts. I message people who are engaging on book accounts and say, oh my gosh, I found you through so-and-so, and I saw that you're reading such and such book too. I'm in the second time reading it, and my gosh, it's better the second time. What are you reading right now since you finished it? And I will build like actual conversations. Okay. Am I hoping that they purchase from me at some point down the road? I mean, that wouldn't suck. Am I hoping that they buy or that they join my team? Yeah, that'd be great. Am I hoping they follow me back? Sure. I also genuinely want to have a conversation about the thing I messaged them about. Okay. I am not sitting here thinking, okay, how can I go find a 35-year-old mom of 2 girls that are 9 and 5 years old, who is also interested in, like, I do not, my niche, I hate the whole niche thing. I hate it. Okay. Your niche is like, what do you like to talk about? Okay. I'm not looking for girl moms. I'm not looking for dog moms. I love my dog. I love my dog. Where is she? She's asleep under my chair. I love my dog. She shows up in like half my content because she's asleep behind me. And like my dog sleeps like 23 and a half hours a day. You start watching my stories, you will see her. She's asleep behind me in almost everything I do. But she's not like my content. I am not looking for dog moms. I am not messaging people, hey, I found you through so-and-so. What kind of dog do you have? I like dogs. That doesn't mean I want to build my brand around dogs. I don't want to connect and engage with dogs. That's not what I naturally talk about, okay? So the way that you figure out what do you naturally talk about is those 5 people you engage with. What are you naturally talking about with those people? And then, we're going to go back to we're going to go back to like the workshop. Okay. So your 5 people, who are your 5 people? What do you naturally like to talk about with these people? And I bet you there's a good chance at least one of those people is not someone that you're trying to get. Okay. I'm not trying to get my spouse to do the business with me. And some of those people, Danny is usually in my top 5. I'm not going to get Danny to come be on my team. Okay. So I think that's another thing. We get in our heads that when we're engaging, we're supposed to get somebody. Okay. That's why this feels so weird. You're supposed to, what do you naturally want to do? How do you naturally be yourself? Like, Danny and I send each other reels all the freaking time about the concept that Danny is one of those people who will go on a 3-day trip and will pack 75 pairs of underwear. And I'm going on a trip for 3 days and I'm bringing 3 because I'm a normal goddamn human and I know what's going to happen and I need 3. Why do you need 70? And Jake is Danny. We have to bring like 8 extra suitcases because he needs 19 shirts per day just in case. And I'm like, in case of what? Where do you think we're going? Like, and so anytime Danny or I see a reel about that, we are sending it to each other because like it is a thing that we laugh about. So when I see content like that, I post it in my stories and I tag Jake that like, this is 1,000% my husband. I am just myself. Okay. I'm myself. And I pay attention to what do I like to talk about with other people? Okay. That's what my content should be. I buy clothes on Amazon. That doesn't mean that's my brand. That doesn't mean I'm like trying to expand my network in Amazon. I am a girl mom. I'm not looking for girl moms because when I look at my top 5, that's not what I'm talking about. I am not naturally like just all I can think about all day is how I'm a girl mom. No, I am a mom, but I am not only looking to engage with girl. That's no. Okay. Do you see how sometimes people get like too freaking weird about their niche and you like box yourself in or start to do things that don't feel authentic and whatever? I am dying that the whole chat is talking about underwear. This is the greatest thing ever. Okay. But for real, all of you people who pack 75 pairs of underwear, what is wrong with your brain? Like, you don't need that many pairs. You really, truly don't. And you cannot convince me. Danny like found a video that was like the algorithm of explaining why you need as many as you do. And I still look like, but you can't convince me I need to bring that many pairs. Like it's okay. It's a vibe. Okay. Be yourself. Danny, nothing is wrong with my brain. Okay. Be yourself. So be yourself and figure out what do you actually like to talk about. And somebody set it up here. Your vibe is, what did they say? Your vibe is your content. That's not what they said, but that's the gist. Your niche is your vibe. That's what she said. Chelsea nailed it. Your niche is your vibe. Okay. Be yourself. That's your niche. Okay. And what do you love to talk about? I'm going to like stop talking, but I could talk about books till the end of time. If you message me and tell me you've read Fourth Wing, be prepared. I have a collection saved for when someone messages me and they tell me, I just finished Fourth Wing, that has 62 things in it that I'm not going to send you all 62, but I will probably send you like 25 that they're like reels and theories and artwork and spoilers. So I can't send them to you till you've read it. But if you tell me you've read it, be prepared to become my best friend, because we are going to like have some conversations about what we think is going to happen in the second book. Okay. So does it feel weird for me to expand to people who have read Fourth Wing? No. Am I thinking, oh, I hope they buy from me? I mean, again, I hope they do. That'd be cool. But that's not what I'm thinking. So then when people are like, how do you turn a connection into an invite? I don't. I'm a normal fucking human. Getting to know them, hearing what they're reading, hearing their theory, hearing what they liked. And then when they follow me back because they're like, dude, that was fun talking to that girl. And then they see me posting about my transformation or about my group or about the food I'm eating and how great I feel on my body, or the fact that I'm getting paid as much as I am and I have time to read, that they're like, wait, how are you doing that? And then they come to me. Okay. That means I have to be vocal about what I'm doing. So I have to be sharing those things consistently. But that's not all I share, because I am a person outside of my business. Okay, I'm done.
Was that amazing or what? And I'm just going to give the best explanation in the world for why Ashley should have more than one pair of underwear per day, because my mother taught me to be prepared in case of accidents. And I'm a 2 scooper, so I'm a 2 pooper. So you just got to be prepared everywhere you go. Okay. Everywhere you go, Ashley. Her pre-workout must not affect her the way it affects me. I do want to say, like, I love this approach so much, because I think that if we're not careful, business becomes way too much overthinking. And what did we learn last night about the head? Head voice is often rooted in scarcity, right? And it ends up coming out as judgment, fear, doubt, shame. How many of you sit around thinking about your posts or your niche or your pillars for like hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours? Some of you do, because of all the trainings that you have been through. Like, that's just, you spend more time thinking than you spend posting, right? So I love the idea of just like, say to social media what you would or were gonna say to your friends anyways. And the one thing that I want to throw out as like, can I throw out a tip too? Is that allowed? Am I allowed to throw out a tip on my call? My plan is this: build as much. So there's this really good book that like Ashley, I think, and Micah, like their whole downline has read. It's called it's the book that ended my first marriage, actually. That's how you know when your marriage is not meant to last. You read a book together and then what is it called? His Needs, Her Needs. Thank you, Ashley. His Needs, Her Needs. They talk about a love bank. And basically you're making deposits into the other person. And when you have a really positive balance, something bad can happen. It's not that big of a deal. But if you have a really negative balance, even something good can happen. It doesn't affect it that much. Okay. And I actually kind of see this as like a sales and marketing thing. If I deposit enough good things into your life, into your business, now all of a sudden it's not that big of a deal when I ask you if you want to work with me. If I don't deposit enough good things into your life and into your business, now all of a sudden it does feel weird and gross and scammy when I'm asking you if you want to join a program. Does that make sense? So this is one of the reasons I have like engagement ads running all over the internet. You'll see videos of me, you'll see posts from me, and they're all just inspirational. And most of them are kind of like, this is kind of like the foundation of my message is don't give up on your dream. And what that allows me to do is just attract a ton of people who have dreams. Because like, if you don't have a dream, like that video means nothing to you, right? But if it's don't give up on your dream, now I'm naturally attracting a large audience of people who have dreams who are looking to me as the guy who's helping them to stick with it for their dreams. And then I do these things, it's going to blow your mind. Like have virtual summits where I have tons of speakers and we just add a shit ton of value to your life and to your business. Because the idea is, I want to be the person that you see as the person who's got your back and is like the energy you want to be surrounded by, the person you want to be surrounded by. And then we're able to do these really cool things where we plant little seeds about programs that we're working on or programs that we're doing. Sometimes these events pitch at the end and we literally want you to join one of our programs. Other times, like this time, I was like, I feel like we've pitched kind of like a lot lately and I don't really want to do that. Like, let's give something away. Like, I just get a whole bunch of people together and like, let's just give them some, let's just prove to them that like our content is on a whole nother freaking level. And if you like will just get engaged in our content, it will get you results. So here's a great idea for those of you that are like, I want to make business more fun and I want to spend a little less time like feeling like I got to pitch. Put on free events and just allow people to come hang out with you and just teach them and just establish yourself as the expert. There is this thing about psychology. If you walk into a classroom and you sit in a chair and someone stands up at the front of the classroom, what is the natural thing that's assumed? If you're in a seat, you're the student. If they're standing up, they're the teacher. Do you see how that works? I mean, that is just a natural psychology. So the more times you can create rooms where you are the teacher, they are the student, the more you begin to be seen as the expert. Is anyone ever like afraid that like, I'm just this random person sharing stuff? First of all, it's okay to be a random person sharing stuff. That's like totally okay. But what I want to challenge you to do is like, let's create some classrooms where you can teach and where you can share and you can kind of become the expert, if you will, to all of the people who love college football, but also would like want to lose some weight. To all of the people who are like super into books, something I'm not into unless it's personal growth. Can't stand it unless it's personal growth. But all of these people, you got to remember, all of these people usually also have some type of a goal, and you just need to give them a space to come together to learn about this thing. So if you can just attract people for all of these other reasons, and I'm not saying you can't invite them, because you can. And if you follow my flow that I have in the program that you're all getting for free or for $9.99, whatever it is, you'll learn that. But I also just want to give you this other challenge, which is just put on more free stuff. And the way I see it is every time we put on free stuff, we have the opportunity to add value to people. People always leave our big events, whether it's our pre-summit event, leadership summit, webinars, they subscribe to our podcast, they order our book, and the relationship starts. So it's not our goal to like close a ton of sales on webinars, even though like obviously we do it, we make money. The goal is to establish the relationship, to introduce them to the path to like join us, so that eventually they probably want to become a client, which is basically what Ashley just said. Okay. But I love the idea of just like taking away the pressure of like, okay, I'm going to connect with this person. How do I sell them? That's like, so I teach something, I call it expand, engage, convert. Okay. And basically in my head, my goal is every single day, find people who don't know me so they can know me. Like, that's it. I just want them to know my name. That's it. See a video of me, see a picture of me. That's why I run so many ads, is I just want thousands of people every single day to be like, oh, this guy. Now I know this guy. Okay. Goal 2 is take people who found out about me previously and build a relationship. Okay. So like maybe you're the person who found out about me last month. This month, our goal is to build a relationship. We want to give you a lot of value. That's why we put out a podcast. That's why I have books that I give away for free. I just want you to establish a relationship with me as the person you look to learn about this thing. Once we have engaged you, then the idea is let's convert the people who were engaging with us last month. Does that make sense? The goal is not to find a new person today and sell them by the end of the day, or even honestly, if I'm being real, by the end of the month. The goal is every 30 days to have a new cycle of people to talk to, because 60 days ago they found out about me, and 30 days ago we were building a relationship, and now we're coming up on a little bit more of a sweet spot, whereas John Maxwell says, when people know, like, and trust you. People do business with people they know, like, trust. So I need them to know me first. No one can trust me without knowing me, right? But second, I need them to like me. I can't sell to someone who literally just found out who I am yesterday. That is now occasionally, but it's very rarely going to happen. So I need them every day. Who is going to know me today? Okay. Who knows me that now needs to like me? And now who likes me that I can ask for some trust? But you can't skip steps. And I think that this is what we all want to do, because we're human, right? I want to be like, okay, I just met you today, join my group today. That's not going to go over very well. I don't like people that talk to me like that, if I'm being honest. Like, I had one friend I had to went and got coffee with, and I was like, if I'm just being perfectly honest, bro, I never gave you permission to use my personal phone number to solicit your business to. And two, if you look back through our messages, you have now messaged me 10 times and I have not responded. So at this point, we have a negative love bank. You're in debt to me, thousands of dollars. So you better do something real fucking spectacular to earn my like and trust, because at this point, I don't even really like you. Does that make sense? Become the person that people know and like, and over time, trust. And then honestly, having conversations with people, use the flow that I gave you. It'll be the easiest thing in the world. Because if they've built a relationship with you, chances are they are curious about what you're doing. And if I can just lean into that curiosity and then ask what their goals are and find out what they care about and what they want, need, now all of a sudden, this is the easiest thing in the world. All right. So thank you so much, Ashley, Danny, Stephanie. I appreciate your time so much. I appreciate your energy so freaking much. Can you guys do me a huge favor? Can you go show them some love over on Instagram? Okay. One of the things that I just always ask is if you get, give. If you get something from someone, give something back. They gave their time and their energy, time away from their businesses, time away from their family. I didn't pay them to be here. They're just here because they're awesome people who want to contribute. So please, if nothing else, just go send some love on their page. Go send them a DM and let them know something specific they said that really hit home with you. What I'd really love for you to do, it would be great if you just said, oh my God, you're amazing, I love you. But I think what would be more powerful to them is to hear something very specific they said today that had an impact on your life. That would mean so much to them to say, hey, when you said this, that really helped me. Does that make sense? So get your post done. We'll announce some winners over on my stories. So if you're not following me, make sure and go follow so you can figure out who the hell won. And if you got a free month in the group or $100, all of the replays, by the way, are on my YouTube channel. So if you go just look up Josh Coates on YouTube, we're streaming everything live there. And then all of the replays just pop, they're there. You don't even have to watch for replays or anything like that. They're just on YouTube. Okay. I love you guys so much. Tomorrow, we've got 2 sessions. We're going to hang out with some entrepreneurs, some of my favorite entrepreneurs from outside of this industry at 10 o'clock a.m. Central. And then at 1 p.m. Central, we have a special session with some of my master coaches. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central. Okay. All of that will be in your emails. We'll send out email reminders just in case you forget. We'll try to give you a reminder like we did this morning. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, friends.
The recording has stopped.